The Paperboy. When the Paperboy opened in Cannes, there was a long, and I wasn't there because I haven't gone to Cannes for quite a long time, there was a long discussion about what the noise that the crowd made at the end of it was. You know, there's this whole thing about in Cannes, critical mooing. And it is literally, it's a mooing sound. They don't boo, they make this kind of mooing noise. It's like that thing in,
Really?
yeah, in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, you know, when they're up on the balustrades and the French go, oh, fetchez la vache, and then they throw the cow over the thing, and well, that's the noise that you get at the end. So
do that again. Why would they make that?
Well, exactly.
Ridiculous
It is the
noise.
Cannes critical noise. It is, and it's kind of weird. And honestly, you have to be there to hear it. It is a kind of murmuring of discontent, but cranked up to mooing levels. Anyway, so the question about whether, when the Paperboy first played at Cannes, what it got was a rapturous applause, or whether it got what it got was a booing. And in fact, it appears to have got somewhere in the middle, which is a mooing. Afterwards, there was immediately people saying, no matter what you think about this film, you're going to remember it as the film in which Zac Efron and Nicole Kidman are together in ways you couldn't possibly imagine. And there was this whole sort of...
Well, they go to the zoo? Or
No, there's
space?
There's a scene in it which has become as infamous as the chicken bone scene from Killer Joe, in which Zac Efron's character is stung by a jellyfish. And in order to anaesthetise the jellyfish sting, Nicole Kidman has to use all her survivalist skills in a way of which the film makes
where is he stung?
He's stung everywhere.
Right, okay.
Yes.
And...
You can fill in the blanks. Okay, this is the thing for which the film has become, you know, has achieved a notoriety. This particular scene and another scene which we'll mention later on. So the story is, it's directed by Lee Daniels, who scored a big hit with Precious. Once again, this is an adaptation of a film, this adaptation of a novel, Pete Dexter's novel from I think the 90s, with an all-star cast going really out of their way to slum it in the same way that in Precious, you know, we had Mariah Carey basically doing Dress Down Friday. She was on the screen for a while, you didn't even realise it was Mariah Carey. Well, in this, you have Nicole Kidman, Zac Efron, as you've never seen them before, Matthew McConaughey, as you have seen him to some extent before because he's done Killer Joe and Magic Mike recently. Deep-fried Florida Gothic is the best way of describing it. The plot nominally centres on a news journalist played by Matthew McConaughey who's attempting to prove that a death row prisoner played by John Cusack, who is about to be sent to the electric chair, is about to be executed for a crime he didn't commit. That is nominally the plot. Here's a clip.
Forensic report says that the sheriff was stabbed between 2 and 3 a.m.
Yeah, like I told you, I was in there. My Uncle Tyree doing long work at home a piece at the time.
Long work.
Yes, sir.
I mean, stealing.
Yes, sir. Stealing salt off a golf course. You know, developers pay through the teeth for that. We sold it, we didn't even make it back to the river till sunrise.
What kind of developers?
Condominiums, man.
You got a name?
No, I don't.
Deputies say they found the sheriff's body at 6 a.m. But it was the way he was killed. That's what makes everyone assume it was you.
What you think?
You tell me.
Well, I ain't the only one carrying a machete around here.
True. The deputies went to Tyree's house. He said he'd been sleeping in bed all night, and had a whole bunch of family members there to confirm it. And then they go to your house, where they find the bloodstained shirt and knife.
Yeah. All right, listen to me. Every knife and shirt that I own is stained in blood. It's what I do for a living. I'm cutting alligators for their skin. Okay? I was a bachelor. I didn't have nobody to do my laundry. You probably got somebody to do your laundry.
What you think?
I bet you do.
So the plot is nominally about attempting to prove that this guy actually isn't guilty. Of course, the film isn't really about that at all. What it's about is trailer trash sexuality and obsessive love and extreme S&M and the end of slavery and segregation and onanism and exploitation and everything else that's being... It is one of those films in which
How can a film be all about all of those?
Because it's
That sounds
essentially...
like a whole season.
It is a whole... It's the best way of describing it. You know what jambalaya is?
Crawfish pie of filigumbo.
Filigumbo, yes. Yeah. Tonight I'm going to see my show. Yes, well, it's... Watching the film is a little bit like jambalaya. It's spicy and all over the place, and you're chewing on something, and you're not quite sure what it is, and you're kind of glad you don't know what it is, because if you knew what it is, you wouldn't want to be chewing on it.
Like prawns or chicken, probably.
Yeah, and a whole bunch of other things.
Well, what else would it be?
What, in jambalaya? That's the whole point. You know, is that a bit of gator? John Cusack's character is a guy who guts gators for a living, and when you think about the Paperboy, I mean, I remember it as a collection of images. I remember John Cusack gutting an alligator. Zac Efron spending... Is
gator gutter...
A gator gutter.
Is he referred to
He's
that?
not a gator gutter. He's a gator gutter's son. He's going to do the gator gutting until the gator gutting's done.
But is he a straight gay gutter? Never mind.
No.
I need to.
No, he's a death row prisoner, and but he's, they're trying to prove that he's innocent. You get Zac Efron spending an awful lot of time in his underpants. Fine, no problem with that. You get Nicole Kidman.
Is there a reason for him
Cusack
being in his pants?
Yeah, the reason is the aesthetic of the film is very raw, very everything turned up to 11, very trashy, very exploit. I mean, it's a film in which it knows what it's doing to some extent, but it also feels terribly out of control. And when you watch it, you're torn between laughing at it and laughing with it. And I think the question is whether or not you think the film is laughing with itself. It does have a deep sort of vein of OTT, jet black humor. And that's why the comparison with Killer Joe isn't completely inappropriate. Killer Joe did a similar thing, which is, dealing with sort of low life, trashy meetings between people in very, very extreme circumstances. And on the one hand, reveling in it, and on the other hand, sort of stepping back and commenting. And as far as the direction's concerned, it is hard to get a handle on exactly whether it knows what it's doing. And there are a couple of scenes. The scene that I mentioned before with Nicole Kidman and Zac Efron and the jellyfish, and not trying harder, but the other way. And then there's another sequence in which there's Nicole Kidman goes to visit the person who has become her. She falls in love with prisoners, and she falls in love with John Cusack.
She falls in love with prisoners.
Yes, that's what she does. Yes.
Why?
Because it's an obsessive personality disorder. Basically,
Yes.
She's massively dysfunctional, and they meet across a room and in a crowded room they meet in a way that is that pretty much transcends.
There's a code. And I'm not quite sure I'm breaking the code completely.
Yes, they have non-physical congress in a crowded room, and it is a jaw-dropping scene. In as much as firstly you think these are A-list actors doing this stuff, and I'm not sure whether to laugh or be shocked.
Messages?
Yeah, they're sending messages. They're texting each other. That's what they're doing. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Well, that's okay.
Fine. Yeah, that's how the scene plays out. So the thing with the film is it's very raw. It's very all over. I mean, the editing is kind of deliberately sort of shambolic to some extent. It's got this terrific period soundtrack. Macy Gray is both playing a role in it and narrating, although interestingly enough, the role that she plays wouldn't enable her to narrate certain scenes because she appears to have knowledge of things that she can't have knowledge of, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because what you're doing is watching this thing reveling in its characters, reveling in its trashiness, reveling in its over-the-topness. And as I said, you spend the whole film going, you're not sure whether you're laughing with it, you're not sure whether you're laughing at it. There are occasions when it is ludicrous and risible. There are other occasions when it is, it is over the top in a way which is completely self-knowing. I mean, I have to say, at the end, I think it is extremely ill-disciplined and a bit of a mess. But there is enough sensationalist schlock in there that will have people talking about it. I'm not sure that people come out of it saying it's good, but it is noisy.